few comments today. I thought we went out today and practiced pretty physical early on. We're a long way behind still in the passing game. We've got to continue to work on that. It showed up again today in team pass period, trying to block some pressures and things we're struggling with a little bit. But it's a process, and we continue down that path. I feel like the kids are buying into being more physical. They're trying to do that. We're trying to make those inside run periods as physical as we can. And I guess a lot of cliches, but we are getting better at doing that, and we're not advancing at the speed I'd like for us to be doing in the passing game. So with that said, I'll open it up for any questions.
Anything off the scrimmage that caught your eye on film that wasn't noticeable?
Yeah. The best thing is you go from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, the pre-snap errors were down considerably. We didn't have as many false starts, misalignments. We had several missed assignments, but not as much with the ones, which was good to see. I think we ran the ball with a lot of physicality. That was good. I was pleased with how the scrimmage went from an efficiency in the run game. We won some first down situations that were good. The things that come off of that we weren't as good as I'd like to see us be, weren't as explosive as I'd like to have seen us be. You know, when you're trying to score points, you got to generate some big plays, and we didn't do that as well as I'd like to. When coach moved the ball back and made us go a long distance, we were unable to get the ball down there. When you're going 4 or 5 yards at a time, you got to put a lot of plays together successfully to get there. Obviously, we can do the math, and doing that without mistakes right now is tough on us. We're still having some execution errors, and still working through some wrinkles within the offense. But for the most part, I thought the scrimmage went about what we thought they would. Coach put a few more reps on them, and they competed hard.
You kind of hit on this a little bit with the problems with the passing game. Could you kind of expand on that a little bit?
Well, I think what you're dealing with is some different protections up front, which are a little bit unique to some of the things we like to do, and the kids' familiarity with it is not where you want to be. Then you add in the different looks and the blitzes that we're seeing from the defense. Then you add in the difference in some schemes and some concepts and the way we prefer to read them over maybe previous staffs. And it just all adds up into slowing down the brain, and the brain's working and the feet and the mind. We're not going as fast as we'd like to. And it takes a long time. I think you see a lot of teams that pass the football. Even in my past, when we threw the ball proficiently, it was game 3 or 4 before we got rolling. And I feel like we're still in the infant stages of the passing game.
I would assess the quarterbacks after 2 scrimmages.
Well, I thought they both competed hard. We didn't throw the ball up very much. We had 1 interception. I think Brandon Allen threw an interception on a deep ball. We were a little late getting it out of our hands. For the most part, we protected the ball pretty well. Brandon Mitchell did a nice job with that. I'd say that maybe Brandon threw the ball a little bit better, Allen, than Mitchell, a little bit better during the scrimmage. Might have played a little bit better. But for the most part, they're still competing and keep right on rolling through the process.
You touched on Brandon Allen, but what stood out about him for you?
I think I think his operation, his management of the huddle, management of the snap counts was a little bit smoother. We just didn't have it just seemed to work a little bit better. You know, when you watch it, some things you can quantify and other things you can't. So subjectively, I would say the offense ran a little smoother.
What kind of adjustments do the receivers that were in a different kind of more of a passing offense have to do to fit your offensive scheme?
Well, we're trying to get them to be more physical, and they're buying into that for the most part. Not all of them. The young kids always struggle. You know, they come here to throw the ball and catch the ball, and we're asking them to block a little bit, so that's sometimes a little tough on them. They think every play ought to be a pass play, but there isn't but one ball, so we can't give it to everybody. But the adjustment to more physical play, I think that would probably be the number one thing. If you said what was different from last year's offense at Arkansas to what you're seeing right now, is maybe we're trying to play a little more physical.
Adapting any better than some other?
I think they're all about on schedule as far as what we anticipated. I don't feel like anybody's falling behind or anybody's jumping way out in front. Obviously, the 3 seniors, Herndon and Horton and Wilson, they've played, they've seen more, they've had more deliberate practice of what we're trying to do. They're grasping it a little quicker than the younger kids.
Coach, could you just talk about Coach Bielema and his philosophy and what he's done to make you want to make the move from Tennessee to come here this
Well, I tell you, I've been at it a few years. I don't know how many right now. I'm 51. And so much for me in my life right now is about working with people I enjoy being around and I trust. And there's no question that I enjoy Coach, and I enjoy him a lot, and I trust him with everything he's trying to do philosophically with his football program, and that's the key for me. It's all about character and people, and that's who I want to work with at the last few years that I'm going to be doing this profession. Hopefully I got a few left in me. I'm not ready to walk off into the sunset, but you ask why, it's all about character with me.
What's your take on Carroll Small's spring so far?
I think he's done a fantastic job. He is a driven young man, as driven as anybody, and it's all about investment. And I've talked about this before, and I'll say it again with Swanson and all these fifth years. We got a few fifth-year seniors, a few fourth-year seniors. These guys have invested a lot. And the more you invest in something, the more important it is to you. And with Small and Swanson, they stand out to me like a sore thumb. Their investment level is so high. It's so important to them. Every rep, they take advantage of it. They understand the process. I've got to go work on this individual detail today and to go clean that up. They understand that process of educating yourself. Young kids don't quite grasp that. It takes a little bit of time. And to assess where he's at, I think he was a very good football player when we walked in the door. I think he's still a very good football player. And I'm really excited he's with us.
He's a pretty physical guy. I take it he's a guy that fits your idea of what you want.
Oh, he's exactly. If you just put a picture over there and said, what do you want your team to look like, I would put him right there in front. He's exactly what you look for. He will put his face on you and enjoy doing it, and that's a wonderful thing.
What were your thoughts on Jonathan Williams?
Played very physical football. And, it's funny when I asked Jonathan, I said, give me one word that describes you. He said, elusive. I said, here's the one word I want you to describe yourself, physical. I want him to kind of continue to develop his identity as a tailback, of being a physical downhill kid. Jonathan's a very strong kid and a very physical football player, and enjoyed it and played that way at the scrimmage, I thought. He's learning some techniques of his position, trying to get his pads down. Jonathan still likes to run a little high. He's stronger than a lot of people and breaks some tackles, but sometimes he's going to run into some boys of equal strength, and he's got to get his pads down. So the details of his assignment need a long way to go, but for a young kid in his class, he's as driven to be successful as most of them. Every day he wants to know what I can get better at, and there's no reason why he shouldn't be an exceptional football player here in our program.
You touched on a few levels with different players, but this was a tough year for this program last year. You guys haven't had a lot of time with these guys, but what's the attitude been like this spring?
It's been fantastic. I can't say enough good things. I mean, does kids go to every class? No. I mean, heck, when I was the only kid that never missed a class. But these, so you miss those. You get a few of those once in a while. But for the most part, these kids have come here. They're hungry. They've been open to change, and they're embracing it. Some embrace change a lot slower. They're no different than us. I believe young men adjust to change quicker than we do at our age. And so I think these kids have been very open about it. Sometimes in college football, you're forced to it. So whether you like it or not, it comes your way. And I think that's a little bit of what happened right now. But these kids' attitude's been fantastic. I can't say enough about them. In front of us, they're doing everything we're asking them to do. Now, like I say, there's still a few that are ornery and they have that stake about them, but that's kind of life.
Saturday, y'all had a good number of blitzes thrown at you. What kind of adjustments did y'all make Saturday and have y'all made today?
Very few adjustments. We're trying to be able to run most of the offense within the structure of the blitzes that we're seeing. We're not going into the pace of changing a bunch of stuff and audibling and checking plays right now. We're not advanced enough to do that. I want to call plays right now that fit everything they're trying to do defensively and execute them against those pressures. So we're not advanced ball in that yet. You had a question over here?
I was going to ask you, you mentioned maybe lack of explosives. Were you talking about run, pass, or both?
I'm talking about both. I think we had 2 explosive runs, which I equate to a 12-yard run or better, and a couple explosive passes of 16 yards or better. And ideally, you need to generate more big plays than that to score points. When you're generating the big plays, the points come. A little bit of that was our lack of execution. A little bit of that was a conservative play calls. I wasn't pushing the ball way down the field a lot on Saturday, so looking back on it, if I'd wanted to do that, and maybe should have done that in a couple of the later drives during the scrimmage.
The goal line, what did you see there?
I saw kids that were excited to go out and play. They ran the 3 plays we tried to run, and they executed them, and they executed, and we got in the end zone. And that was the most pleasing part. It was interesting, the success we had down there. There was a lot of excitement and emotion on the field. Then we move in and move the field, and it was like we'd forgotten that. So we needed to get them pumped back up and get ready to go on the move the field part of the practice. We kind of dropped the ball when we moved to that spot, kind of got our butts kicked. So hopefully we got to just figure out how to consistently hold that pressure to keep the foot on the pedal as we go down to practice.
Is it red zone stuff this week, or?
It is red zone stuff tomorrow. We're ready to roll, baby. We got like some 6 or 7 little special little routes we're going to scheme the heck out of.
What about 2-minute?
I don't know. If we get to that, it'll probably be the last week. It'll be next week sometime.
You looking for anything different in the scrimmage Saturday than the previous ones?
No, not really. I mean, execution, obviously, but I think that the way we play the game, and I've talked about this before, if we play with toughness, with great effort and discipline and have a wonderful attitude, those four ingredients, I'll be pleased with what we get done on offense. As far as the plays, they'll come. Plays don't win and lose you ball games. It's how you execute them and who you are inside that really figures out whether you're going to win or lose.
In development up front, offensive line, any new faces kind of jump in there? Or is it
And, Stringer had to hop in there a little bit, and he did okay. He did solid for us at left tackle. Other than that, within the ones, that's been about the same.
Last one?
Is Stringer, I guess, kind of working as the number 3?
I think that'd be accurate to say it right now. I think Beck's done some good things too, though, so I don't know if I would classify him as the 3, but right now we are utilizing him that way.